Do you want to do the intro now?
No, you do better intros.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to our 4th episode of Talk Nerdy with Me, where we're going to be recapping and just, gushing over episode 8 of WandaVision. Let's just kind of get into it, honestly.
I'm still upset.
Why? I told you Hayward
so
sucked.
Sad. I know that, but this was so sad.
It was different than all the previous episodes. Basically, we're finally getting like a real backstory as to like how this all started, how the Hex started, and what the heck is really going on as far as like Vision and everything else goes. And it's all being forced on Wanda because of Agatha Harkness, because Agatha apparently just walked up to the town because she noticed a lot of energy pulsating from this area of the world and then saw this all happening and was like, there's no way any one witch can create such chaos. Yeah. And if she can get Wanda to do something for her, that's really all I understood when Agatha is like telling her all that in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And she forces her to relive her memories, which is kind of cool to finally actually see them.
It kind of like connected all the dots finally. Like we really understood how everything happened, like the backstory, even a little bit on why her and Vision were like actually a couple, in a way. It was pretty much off screen for the entire time.
Well, I feel like we saw
at least kind of how it like started or how they got close.
We got a little bit of it in general, but like, we definitely got more of it. I actually have some theories on that.
Yeah.
But we also finally got to see like the scene that we've always heard of when her and her brother are trapped. Yeah, that whole thing was incredible. But do you want to still go in chronological order?
Yeah, we should.
Okay, cool.
I thought it was cool how they actually went into Agatha's origin story. I know it was really short, but I really didn't expect it like that.
Yeah.
I thought they'd give some hints, but to actually like walk through, and it was pretty true to the actual origin.
I thought it was so cool because she's just like this young witch and she's being put on trial, and right away like it can't be a normal witch trial because they're using magic to bind her, Yeah. They're just saying that you stole knowledge, you betrayed your coven, and it was like knowledge above her pay grade, like her age and her like abilities.
Yeah.
And Agatha, you can't really tell if she's
being sincere or not while she's on trial.
Because she's saying I can be good, and you can almost feel it in her that she wants them to believe in her instead of, I think they were trying to siphon her power from her. But you can't honestly tell, because then when she ends up siphoning the whole coven's magic, including her own mother, and doesn't even bat an eye, you have to wonder if that wasn't the entire goal of her mission all along, was to get them to try and do that so she can steal all their magic.
Yeah, it was a pretty weird scene. Like watching it, I was trying to figure out what she could possibly be doing for it to have that reverse effect. You know what I mean? Like didn't lift a finger, but she was just absorbing all of their energy and ended up taking their life force they were trying to, kill her.
What I think it is that her magic was just so much stronger than theirs that like there wasn't any ability for them to try and take over hers. But I thought it was interesting because all their magic was blue and hers was purple, and it made me really think of Dormammu.
Yeah, no, actually, you brought that up last time.
Yeah.
And especially when she mentioned she's like, you're messing with dark arts or like dark magic, you know what I mean? I still don't think they're actually going to bring Dormammu in, but the fact they're pulling from that kind of dark energy, I thought was a really cool callback.
Well, and even how like I mentioned how the Power Stone is purple, and it would be kind of curious to see if like there's any kind of ties in that situation. And now that we see that her coven had blue magic and hers was purple and just that much greater than theirs, like you kind of have to wonder if there's gonna be a tie eventually.
So while you mentioned the blue aura, did you notice when her mom went in for that final blast on her head?
I saw it.
Yeah, so her mom kind of goes for like a final blast to, take her out.
Well, her mom hadn't even been doing it up until that point.
And when she does this, you can see the blue color going through her, but you also see the little kind of headpiece.
It was like a crown.
Yeah, that Wanda usually has, but it's blue. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Because she was the matron of her coven. I also liked the line where they're putting her on trial and they're like, you broke our rules. And she was like, I didn't break your rules. I bent them. And I was just like, that's such a cop-out.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's such like, I guess not. Maybe there isn't a way to break their rules. Maybe it's like something that binds them, but she was able to kind of warp around them and find the back door, so to speak.
One random theory, like I don't think it would actually happen, but because they mentioned that was her mom, I feel like that is going to have some significance at some point.
Definitely.
I was wondering if Wanda was maybe in some way a descendant of their family.
Maybe. It was in Salem, Massachusetts, and Wanda obviously lives in Sokovia.
Yeah, but even then, that was from, what year was that?
Almost the 1700s.
That's what I mean.
It was like 1693.
Yeah, for that being a 300-year difference, you know what I mean?
It could be.
But yeah, I don't think that would actually happen, but just for them to mention it was her mother, I feel like that plays a little bit more significance in some way.
I don't know, maybe. It could be interesting. I thought that was interesting in general that supposedly Wanda had this magic all along, but that being in contact with the Mind Stone is what made her this.
Yeah.
For them to just be like, oh, so it just happened to not blast for 2 whole days. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. And I've never even questioned it. I don't think you're ever supposed to question it. We get back to Wanda and Agatha down in the basement, and she's trying to go up against her, but there's runes of magic. Loved that. I feel like there's definitely gonna be such a tie with Thor in some way.
Yeah.
When Wanda goes to try and use her magic, she goes, you can't get into my mind. And like I told you, I thought that she had
telekinesis?
No, telepathy.
Telepathy.
Yeah. So I thought she had some telepathic she could read minds.
Yeah, pretty much. It was weird though, because now I kind of wonder what she actually did at the end of the last episode, where she like made her eyes turn purple. That wasn't really a mind control, was it?
Yeah, it probably was. I think that was more for like our benefit to realize that it was them really doing it all along. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. But who knows? Maybe it was her wiping part of her memory in that moment and then being like, I want to know what's going on. Or
maybe that was her looking into her head to project all these visions as they were going through like her history. You know what I mean? Kind of like pulling it and walking her through it, but like, you know, being able to construct the image.
It totally could be.
That makes a little more sense.
So maybe it was just all in her head, which would also make sense with how she's explaining magic, where she's like playing with the bug and everything like that. She goes, it's immense power. Yeah. And in general, like that whole episode could have been a vision inside of Wanda's head.
Yeah. I thought that whole scene was cool just to give like a little rundown of magic. Like obviously you've seen it in Doctor Strange, but like the magic aspect of Marvel is just so fascinating and so cool to watch too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just like the way it's done and what they can actually do, like casting the spells.
Right, exactly. Agatha's quite literally just trying to figure out how Wanda's doing it. Yeah. She's like, I don't understand. Like, I need you. Because she mentioned that at one point. She goes, I need you, but how are you doing this? And Wanda's like, I don't know.
Should we just go right back into the flashbacks and just like
oh yeah, definitely, because it starts right off the bat with Sokovia.
Yeah. So I watched this twice, and the first time obviously you're just absorbing everything. The second time though, if you watch it and you only focus on Wanda, it's so sad.
You see her falling back on sitcoms just to like make it through her life.
But not even that. Like if you actually pay attention to like her body language, like if you only watch her and like don't really pay attention to anything else throughout those entire scenes, she's just in every scene just like devastated, on the verge of tears.
Well, yeah.
And it's like, it's really powerful.
Well, I think that's like the whole point is that they're pointing out that she has been on the verge of breaking for so long. And I mean, we'll get to it towards the end, but like she still never really broke, I think. Like, but anyways, it's just one of those situations where she is really sad. She has to watch her family. Like that was so sad to be able to see that last moment that she had with her parents, where they are doing anything to try and make their children feel like they're not in the middle of a devastating war.
Yeah.
And they just have all these like old sitcoms that they're later gonna sell, but like for right now at least they can watch some movies, and then it's the bomb that strikes.
And it was crazy too. I honestly got chills because in the Dick Van Dyke clip that they were showing, it's exactly 1-to-1 what she's mimicking in episode, what was it, 1 or 2?
Yeah,
that her and Vision were doing. So just to see like exactly where she pulls it from, and even the look on her face as she's watching, she's like, I just want everything to be perfect.
She loves
it. You know
what
I mean?
Yeah. It was so sad, and it was so interesting to see the tie of sitcoms throughout everything.
Yeah.
Like throughout everything, because in the first one, obviously, like the first memory, it's just how her and her family used to bond together. And then in the next one, it was even interesting to see it went into that memory. Wait, I want to make sure that we don't miss anything.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole part of her saying, like as a child, by the end of the episode, you realize it was all a bad dream.
Yeah.
Like to her brother, because she just wanted it so badly to be a bad dream. And it even ties to what's happening currently in the show.
Yeah.
That she made an episode that's supposed to be just fun. It's supposed to be shenanigans. It's not supposed to be a bad accident. And you're going to realize that everything was a bad dream in the end, you know? Like,
I thought it was interesting how Agnes brought up that she used a probability hex. Because essentially what that is, it's really just luck. To an extent, because obviously it's a spell, but what it's doing is it's like, I don't want that to happen, so I'm gonna manipulate
this is the probability of this happening.
And have it tip in your favor. So it was interesting that they said they just sat next to a bomb ticking for 2 whole days,
and she even said, she said safe as kittens. You were sitting there safe as kittens the entire time, and you had no idea, because we always assumed that they were literally trapped under something, but they were paralyzed by fear more than anything else, you know. The next memory is Hydra.
This is crazy.
It was so sick. I thought it was even funny just the way that Agnes phrases it at one point. She goes, oh, your rebellious phase when you joined the Anti-Freedom Terrorist Association.
I know, that was always pretty interesting.
Yeah, and she was like, we were trying to change the world.
No, even right before that, where she said, What did she say to her? She was like kind of messing with her. She was like,
what I'm seeing right here is a little witch who doesn't know how to use her powers or something along those lines.
Has a long future of therapy ahead.
And who has a long future of therapy.
Yeah, I was like, ouch.
Because, like, she's just trying to understand. She's like, this girl's a witch. Like, it has to be a witch. It feels like witch magic. And I thought that was really weird, too, because I'm like, couldn't it be anything else, you know?
No, but the next scene with the Mind Stone was pretty crazy. And honestly, it's kind of funny because looking at the trailer now, I don't know why we didn't really think about it this way.
What do you mean?
Because this was in the trailer, this whole scene. But each time we thought that this was her recreating the Mind Stone or interacting with it like before this all happened in a vision sense.
I don't think I remember this from the trailer.
Oh no, it was in all the trailers. That's why every single time I thought she was recreating it somehow.
Oh no, it makes way more sense as a memory.
Yeah.
But like I thought that whole thing was interesting because the entire time I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. The scepter was put all together. When we see it in Ultron, you see that it was literally all in her head. Like it happened in a split second. Yeah. And it's the scepter calling to her basically, vibrating and coming out of its shell and literally opening for her and showing her the actual Mind Stone. It was almost like it gave her the knowledge. Like it didn't even really interact with her. It gave her the knowledge to use her power.
Because the Mind Stone, every time it affects someone, it shows them their future, an actual vision. You know what I mean?
I know,
so that's
like
why
vision.
Well, so when it showed the figure, you know what I mean, the silhouette, it was her. But it, like, is it showing her future? Is that like her Nexus self, you know, coming to her and presenting that power onto her?
Yeah.
You know, there's so
or
much
is it something like in the X-Men where there's the Phoenix being?
That's exactly what I thought too. Going through this all, I was wondering if she started as a witch and then she was maybe taken over by some greater entity like the Phoenix.
Yeah.
And that's what made her like very overpowered. But this, it kind of leaves room for that, honestly.
It leaves room for it. We saw the silhouette. We saw the silhouette of a girl like in a cloak with the headpiece and everything like that. But the way that they even described later in the episode, it leaves room for the possibility that like the way that Marvel might take it is in the way of like Jean Grey and the Phoenix. So strange it was all a vision. And then what I was theorizing was, what if the entire time she was actually attracted to Vision because of the Mind Stone and vice versa, and that Vision was attracted to her because of the Mind Stone. They were just being brought together because of her interaction with it and like her draw to it, basically. Yeah,
100%. I thought the same thing. It puts you in a weird situation too, because then it doesn't make you think like the love is artificial in any way, but it's like, are we kind of drawn to each other for an old, you know,
well,
a
because
different
like
reason?
If you're assuming that she's getting her powers from like the Mind Stone in a weird way, then like you have to wonder if it's almost like a part of her. Yeah. You know, and if like calls to like, I don't know. I thought that was all very, very interesting to see. And then she's even like sitting there when she's figuring out that she might have further powers after seeing the Mind Stone, and she's watching a sitcom.
Well, keep in mind too, that outfit she was in leads directly into the end of Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah.
Where her and Pietro were like in the room and she's like playing with little blocks.
Oh yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that follows immediately
Oh
after.
yeah, eventually. I thought it was also weird that they mentioned that everyone that's been exposed to the Mind Stone has died. Like that was a very interesting thing to hear, just because we've never seen the Mind Stone like that.
Yeah, just as the actual like stone itself.
Well, no, because it wasn't even the stone itself. It was still in its encasing. It was just more of like when Loki's used it, no one died. Yeah. But I guess like in their experimentation with Hydra and Strucker, maybe when people go up to it, when they touch the scepter without Loki having direction for it, it's just killing them. It's too much power.
Well, it could also just be like not worthy thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, because the stones, they do have like pretty much a mind of their own. So, you know, they could just say, nope, don't like him. You know what I mean? And this time around, obviously, it had a connection to her.
It was really cool. I mean, you have to even wonder, like how I said with like calls to like with her and Vision, if you wonder if like maybe the Mind Stone already felt itself in her. Exactly. Because like her powers are so similar to reality. You know what I mean? I also liked, just after that, we're getting the scene of how her and Adam... Put your foot back. Of how her and Vision meet, or not meet, but like how her and Vision start to really like get together. And it's her grieving, watching Malcolm in the Middle. It's just all the sitcoms all tied together. But like what he says, it was so sweet, because he looks at her and he says, "But what is grief if not love persevering?" And I was like, oh, that's very sweet. That's very, very sweet and touching. And even Agnes, like if you saw her, or Agatha, she was like crying a little from that one scene.
She?
Yeah. She like wipes a tear after that whole interaction of her and Vision.
Back to the sitcom part, like the scene they were watching where the jungle gym fell down. That was out of wood. That happened exactly to Vision.
The gazebo. Yeah.
That happened to Vision in the intro to one of the sitcoms. I think it was episode 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
So it's like funny because he was pointed out. He's like, "Is this funny? He just got hurt." She's like, "No, he didn't actually get hurt." But the biggest thing I took away from this scene, it almost felt like this is what kind of made Vision human, like the actual connection and like talking with her, because obviously going into it, he's the more AI, like not understanding sarcasm, like not understanding humor or anything like that.
But at the end, he's already laughing at some of the jokes.
Exactly. And you can tell too, like it's like a foreign concept to him, because he's kind of laughing like, I think this is funny. You double check, he's like, this is funny, right? She's like, yes, it's funny.
Yeah,
you know
very like
mean?
Sheldon a la Big Bang Theory.
Exactly, yeah. So I thought that was just a really cool moment.
When you were saying like maybe they were just downloading his consciousness, I'm like, they can't. Like at this point, he has become more than what he was. Like yes, originally as an AI unit, he was an AI, and then he became Vision, like the person who loved Wanda, things like that. And it was just really sweet and touching, and like he's giggling at the end, and even what he's saying though was really interesting to me, because he's like, I was all alone. I've never had anyone to lose, which is an odd thing to think of, because like what does he mean by he was all alone? Was it him as Vision as a person, or him as the Mind Stone? It's leading into the next scene, right?
Yeah, the part with your best friend.
This felt like it made the most sense, like the absolute most sense to me. Just like seeing her grieving when she comes back and she goes to Sword, and she's like, I know you have his body, but he deserves a funeral. Like, I deserve a funeral. And they're like, we can't let you in, we can't let you in. And then finally Director Hayward's like, yeah, bring her on in.
Well, I think what's interesting about this is like, obviously she wants to just have a funeral for him, but like I feel like in like the world of what's happening, you see like obviously Tony and Captain America died. They're celebrated as heroes. I don't think Vision's kind of getting the same.
That's
like,
true.
Not that you're expecting glory from this. You don't need a statue or anything. But he just died, and that's it. Just because he's like to them an AI. You know what I mean?
And even if you're thinking about it, this is probably right after Tony's funeral. Like she probably just saw.
Yeah, she probably left there.
Yeah, and Tony be put to rest in that way, and she was like, Vision deserves this. Like Vision needs this, and it was so like heart wrenching to watch this, because you can tell that her intentions were literally just like, I need to let this go. I need to be able to grieve and like let it go. Yeah. And I felt it when Hayward was pushing her in that direction of like, I think he implanted the seed.
So that's what I'm thinking. I don't understand. I can't figure out what exactly his motive is. What I think he was trying to do was he was trying to get her there to reactivate him.
To reanimate.
And then plant it so she was framed as, you know, breaking into here, destroying the place, and doing that so he could get him online and then get her out of the picture.
Well, I don't think that he was even planning on doing all that, on making it seem like she stole everything or that she broke in even. Like, I think that at first all he wanted was to implant the idea in her head, because even the way that he's talking to her, he's like, are you gonna...
It's weird, right?
Well, he's like, oh, you want to see him? He's like, well, we've been taking him apart. We can't let billions of dollars of vibranium just go to waste, which was just mean. He's like, oh, you're just gonna bury him? We can't let that go to waste. And then he even goes, oh, and we can't give him over to you, because with your powers, you can just power him back on, or boot him back up.
That was a straight plant. It felt like.
Literally. And then he even corrects himself. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. Bring him back to life. Yeah. And it's like, no, you're not sorry. That's what she wanted. Like, that's what he wanted her to do. He wanted her to bring him back.
Yeah. But do you think that he's human, or do you think he's someone else?
Hayward?
In disguise, yeah.
Oh no, I think it's kind of like one of those just bad seed situations where like, yes, maybe his intentions were pure going into it, but he's just become so corrupted with fear. Like, because I think it's fear.
So you do think he's human though? You don't think he's like Mephisto or someone posing?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so either. That's what's the weirdest part. But like as a normal human going into the situation, even if you want to be making any kind of weapon or get something out of this, it was a weird conversation.
Well, but
he was so precise, like in his words.
Inhumans. Yeah. Like he mentions it at one point. Like, remember in like the episode where he's like,
it's Monica.
Yeah, he's just like being so rude. I wouldn't think that he would be one because of the hate that you can tell from his words. And even how like Monica's interacted with him so many times before.
Yeah. I think the most painful line, like going into what she does next, was when she was like, he's all I have left, and he's like, he doesn't belong to you. That hurts so bad.
Because he does. And that was just like, and it was more of like, he doesn't belong to you. Like, he doesn't belong to like your technology or anything like that. Like, for him to just assume that he should have it because he was the most... Like, the way that he phrased it, he literally said, I put it all in caps, I was so freaking mad. I was like, why are they showing this to her? Like, why would you show such a traumatic thing to someone? Like, it's traumatic to see the person you loved the most being literally pulled apart. It's disgusting. And then he goes, we're dismantling the most sophisticated weapon.
And he says it was like a smirk.
And she was like, he was not a weapon. Like, he was a person. And that was when I was like, he put it in her head. Like, he was like planting a seed for her to bring him back, bring your soulmate back online. And then he goes, we're not going to waste $3 billion of vibranium just to put him in the ground. And then he isn't yours, but like he isn't Hayward's either. And then she like destroys the windows because she wants to get down to him. But like that was enough for her. Like she said goodbye to him. And like it was honestly more than I would have ever expected from anyone. Like to just see the person you love in that kind of state and then just to be able to move on.
Yeah.
Because she did. Like she was sad, but she moved.
Yeah. So I have 2 points to that because in my head, it's still kind of hard to separate Vision from being an AI versus a human. Like obviously he is a human, but seeing it on the table, and especially the first time around, like in the videos where they showed it, in episode I think it was 4 or 5, I almost am picturing him kind of like as C-3PO when he was like discombobulated.
Oh no.
But seeing him this way and seeing her interact, it's like, no, that's literally
that was her soulmate.
That was her soulmate. That was like the person she was in love with in pieces on a table,
literally,
being taken up, almost like they're dissecting him and staring her down while they're doing it.
Yeah.
And
you know what I thought was weird? Because when he's saying like we're taking him apart, and they were working on his head right when they said that, and it looked to me more like they were welding him back together, like his head specifically, because like even that part, like it looked like they'd closed a little bit of it up, which was odd to me.
To wrap up that whole scene, like I thought the craziest part about it was that you could tell she was so devastated and broken, she had no room to be mad. Like there was, you know what I mean? She could have destroyed everyone in that room.
She was empty.
She was literally empty.
Yeah.
And it was so sad when she finally went over to him and she, you know, put her hand like over where the Mind Stone was. She was like, I can't feel you.
Because she used to always tell him that, like she used to like interact with the Mind Stone and she goes, I can feel you. It was the moment where she was able to let him go, which was incredible again. And then I thought it was really weird because when she gets back to her car, there's the little letter sitting on her seat. And what I was wondering was if
it planted there?
Well, yeah, I didn't know if she'd had that all along, if that was like her last stop before going there, because obviously it was given to her supposedly by Vision, or if it was planted there, or if even she'd had it all along, if it was still just a fake.
Yeah.
You know?
From what I got from it, I think that he had it for her the whole time. I don't know if it was like a will kind of situation, but obviously right at the beginning of Infinity War, their vacation, whatever it was, got broken up pretty quickly. So I do think it was legitimate, but it was so sad. Her having to read that, going to the spot and everything.
Yeah, it was the deed to a plot of land that he'd gotten for them.
Yeah.
The only reason I thought it was suspicious was because I'm like, well, Westview looks really run down.
Yeah, and the way it looked like on her thing, like she kind of looked at it for a second. It's like you would have thought it would have been somewhere else, like she pulled it out of the glove box or something, but for it to be just sitting right there, it did seem a little bit suspicious.
It just seemed
But I do think it was authentic.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting that was the part that broke her. You know, like getting to the town, which honestly looked like the set of like Gilmore Girls, which is like another, you know, huge sitcom. And like to see her like starting to like put those pieces like, wow, this town could have been our home. This town could have been like everything that we wanted and died in.
And I think that's what threw her over the edge.
Oh,
she
definitely.
was just because, you know, standing right in the middle of it. And what did it say on there?
And he was supposed to be with her.
What did it say on the letter?
Yeah, it literally said to grow old in V.
Yeah. And so standing there, she's just picturing what could have been. And that was the tipping point.
Yeah.
So
when you see her walk away, you already know that she couldn't have possibly taken Vision with her. And I was like, okay, does she go back? Like, how does this all run down? And then you just start to see her create everything, like as she's screaming, like in pain, which reminded me a lot of Ultron. She has like a scene like that right after Pietro dies, where she's like collapsed on her, like on her knees, where she's like screaming like that with like the power like pulsating from her. And that was when I realized, I was like, oh my God, she's gonna have made Vision. And that was exactly it. Like, because after everything's created, you just start to see like from her soul, basically, like, because you can see like tearing from her, like the yellow energy used to make Vision.
Yeah.
And to make him from scratch, to make a whole new Vision that was like her soul. And I was wondering, because it was yellow, if her interactions with the Mind Stone are what gave her the ability to recreate the Mind Stone. She basically destroyed it. She had to go into the chemical makeup of the Mind Stone before, obviously, you know, it all got ruined, but like she literally went into it to destroy it. So you have to wonder if like in a weird way she absorbed it.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering too, because, well, I guess this is a little bit different, but to run off of that, it is interesting to see how she created Vision, like coming from her, especially when Hayward mentioned you're just gonna bring your soulmate back on, you know what I mean?
It's so like from her soul.
Exactly. Yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I am just wondering, like, is it really gonna be the Mind Stone, or is it going to just all be a vision? You know, like, is it all just make believe? Like, is it something that she created but that's not gonna be able to last through it? But in my opinion, like, if it is truly the Mind Stone and if it can be Vision, then it would be because she's just had so many interactions with the Mind Stone. And I wouldn't be surprised if she somehow did absorb the Mind Stone's essence when she was trying to destroy it. Like, I know that they turned back time, but she's shown before, like, I was rewatching episodes 1 and 2, remember? When she turns back the clock, like, that's That's time stones magic. Like, that
when
she at one point.
Oh, when she rewinds.
Well, no, when she like with the eggs, like it was in the first episode where she's like trying to make the chicken. She turns it back all the way, and that looks so much like the motion that Doctor Strange uses whenever he uses the time stone.
Yeah.
You just have to wonder like how much of the stones themselves were being absorbed into her. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with that. I really hope, because with that, obviously it looks like he does have a Mind Stone. I'm hoping it's not the Mind Stone, or like it's not going to be a future kind of Mind Stone. I kind of want that to just be over with.
Like I told you, I don't think that the universe is supposed to survive without the Infinity Stones. Yeah. Like they mention it so many times, especially in Doctor Strange.
Well, not even but in Endgame when the Hulk goes to the Ancient One to get the time stone.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. But also in Doctor Strange, they always mention that it's like it's what keeps everything else at bay.
Yeah.
Like the time stone is the only thing that's keeping Earth from being overrun by all these other entities. Yeah. And just because the Infinity Stones don't exist doesn't mean that their entities don't exist either. Yeah. The Infinity Stones are basically necessary for the world to keep living.
Yeah. Natural order.
Yeah, and I don't think like they'll ever need to be important again, and maybe it'll be kind of one of those weird things where like each person ends up being an Infinity Stone instead of like physical stones again.
Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, and then like almost like they pick their own hosts as time goes on, you know, that way no one person can always hold it.
Yeah.
That whole scene was really intense, just to see her like see him again and him to be like, "You're home, Wanda."
She was so happy.
Oh, it was just it was really sad.
The part where they sat down on the couch, did you realize that
it was like the parents? It was just like her parents, because like the way that even like she tucks herself into his arm, it was so sad.
In that scene, because it's black and white, when the red in her jacket was poking, I legit thought that was gonna be like Insidious with like just the devil face in the background.
Oh my god, no.
I thought it was gonna be like Mephisto or someone just like, yeah, this is me the whole time. No, but obviously quickly it turned to her.
What I've been kind of wondering, so when I was rewatching the first 2 episodes, I was watching them with my dad, and I was texting Adam all these theories that I'd had while rewatching them, since I hadn't seen them for forever, really. And there's a point where I realized that I don't think the postman could be Mr. Scratchy or Senor Scratchy, because basically Senor Scratchy is given to Wanda by Agnes, and she's taking him into the house when Wanda and the postman have an interaction. And the postman's walking behind her, and he's like, "Don't shoot the messenger." And she like goes, "Pew pew, haha." And she also kind of was like, "What the hell," you know?
Yeah.
And I was wondering if potentially the reason that she needs Wanda and she needs all this is because she does have a deal with the devil, because she did sell her soul to Mephisto, and Mephisto is forcing her to see what's going on in this town and how he can get that under his own control. And the postman is really just the messenger between her and the devil, and to see like what's going on.
So I like all the postman conspiracy theories, but in this episode you actually see him as a pizza delivery guy. So he was actually in the town when she was going through it before she changed it. So then it makes you wonder.
Well, but I mean, she talked about possession right away.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be the same dude.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, it can always just be a messenger of Mephisto or something like that. But yeah, no, I mean, you see all of the characters. It was really fun to see everyone all together in the town.
After this episode, though, especially since there's only one left, I know this leads into the new Doctor Strange, but I'm actually hoping they don't really just throw in another, like, cosmic villain just in the last episode. You know what I mean? Like, maybe, like, an Easter egg at the after credits to hint what's going to happen in Multiverse of Madness. But I think for this point, we should just have to deal with Hayward, Agnes, and then Wanda.
Oh, no, and I agree. I honestly think that they would be like a good team all on their own.
Yeah.
Like, and the way that Agatha even ends the episode. Well, okay, I thought it was really weird first how you pull back from that scene and you see Agatha like clapping. You see the studio lights. Like, that was really strange. So that's why I think like there's some merit in what you were saying, that she was just planting a vision into Wanda's head to see all that.
Yeah.
Because then when she snaps out of it, she runs through a door and Agatha's not there anymore, and she can hear her children like screaming. And Agatha looked so evil.
Yeah.
So evil, so powerful, with like both the kids on leashes.
Yeah, it was choking them, but it looked honestly kind of like a leash in a way.
It was just terrible. And like, I thought it was interesting, she really looked like her own mother in that moment.
Did she?
Like, when she's like standing over the 2 kids and she's floating up above them, she looks just like how her mother did when she did that last shot of power towards Agatha to try and like tame her, basically.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of funny how her hair was flying back. I could have done without that just because it looked a little bit cheesy.
Well, I mean,
but the rest of the scene was
the makeup
great.
was cheesy. Yeah. If you look at it, like Agatha's face, like she has like all the like deep contours like powdered into her face.
Yeah, it's like her hair though. You could just see like there was probably a fan being held right in front of her.
Well, I mean, it was like crackling with magic. Like you could see the purple like going through it and everything. It was wild, and I liked the outfit, but like, did she have to look so evil?
Yeah, no, she did for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, she looked like an evil villain.
You want to talk about the name drop?
Oh my god, it was awesome. You were so correct. Like, you were so right in the fact that they were going to have to refer to her that way.
Yeah.
But
the way they referred to her
made her sound like a phoenix being.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
like,
even
weird.
She says, how strange, how dangerous you are. You have chaos magic. You must be the Scarlet Witch. Because the Scarlet Witch, apparently, is the only being that can create from nothing.
Yeah. It was funny because this made me think of Enchantress from the Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? Because how that was possessed by like a separate being. That's exactly what I thought of when she talked about it that way. But I don't think that's really...
No, I think it's almost like a...
No.
I think it's like a mythological story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the way that I'm seeing it is like maybe the witches have...
it's like lore?
Yeah,
within, like witchcraft?
like a lore. And they've always known of a Scarlet Witch whose powers can create from nothing.
Yeah.
You know, with chaos magic. Like, with chaos magic, she can create anything from nothing.
Yeah.
And that is more of where I'm seeing it as, so that it was almost like her destiny to become the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was like a Jean Grey being possessed by the Phoenix situation, just because she is herself always. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it
when
gave those vibes, but I agree with you. I don't think it was that.
Well, like, when the Phoenix possesses Jean Grey, she doesn't know anything. Like, when Scarlet Witch is overcome by her emotions, she shoots out power, but she doesn't ever become someone else. You know what I mean?
Do you want to hear the definition of chaos magic?
I would love to.
So, chaos magic is the name of a magic so powerful it was thought to be non-existent even by the Sorcerer Supreme. In this case, that's Doctor Strange, but it does vary over different timelines.
Or the ancient one, like, yeah.
Yeah, the magic can manipulate, warp, and reconstruct the very fabric of existence and reality to the very user's whims and bring total destruction to the cosmos. Just at their hands. But how it originated is it came from an archdemon called Scython. And in one of the stories, he was kind of like banished in a way because he was kind of like a chaos demon.
That's from mythology. From like actual Greek mythology.
Oh, is he?
Wait, let me look it up.
Yeah, but so pretty much in the story, he had chaos magic and he was kind of like banished. He was sealed within Mount Wundagore, which is kind of interesting because Wanda. But this is where Wanda was born in the comics. So it was kind of like as she was born, she kind of got like the blessing of the chaos magic from him, which gave her all that power.
Yeah, so in Greek mythology, chaos refers to the void state preceding the creation of the universe or the cosmos. Oh, that's what it is. It's like the actual state of being. That's almost proof that she could have created Vision.
Yeah.
I mean, her kids, obviously, I feel like we all know that they're real, but like Vision... Oh, but well, no, I mean, it feels like they are. You know what I mean? And if she's saying right there that you can create things, like from nothing.
That's true.
Like, I just think that that's like the proof that you would need later on if they do want to make Vision and the kids real.
Yeah.
Because like if she has chaos magic, she can create from nothing. Why can't she create that?
True.
Like why wouldn't, like theoretically, she could literally actually create the Infinity Stones again.
Yeah.
Just because she can. Yeah. Like as the Scarlet Witch with chaos magic. I don't know if it would take everything from her to do it because they're such like limitless power. But with that definition, she has no limit.
It's true. You want to talk about the end credits? The after credits?
Yeah. You were right.
I was. You know what's even more frustrating? So go ahead and mention it real quick.
I mean, well, once again, I would like to say how much I thoroughly hate Hayward. Like, he could literally 100%. Burn in a vat of acid for the rest of his life, and I think that I'd be okay with that.
Probably out of all the villains, I think I might hate him the most.
He's just so cruel. Even Agatha isn't that heartless. Like, I want to point that out. Even Agatha isn't heartless enough to keep destroying Wanda. She just kind of wants to bend her to her own will, but she still wants her to be able to come out of it. She's like, you're too broken. You need to face your reality. Things like that. Hayward just wants her to keep breaking. Like, he doesn't care, like, at all. And it's just really heartless. Like, how can you look at that kind of pain and just still do whatever you want for your own stuff?
So there is an after credits scene again, second time in a row, and this time around we have Hayward at his facility, and in the last episode he talked about how they're going to go ahead and launch, and we were wondering what the launch is. Are they just going to straight up nuke, the
Hex? Like, nothing's going to be able to get through that.
Yeah, like what could they possibly be launching?
I felt it coming the moment they showed, like, we never thought that we just needed magic from the source, and they're showing the rocket still beaming with Wanda's power connected to something, and I'm like, they're going to bring back the real Vision. And then it's the white Vision, just like how you were saying all along.
Yeah, but this is interesting too because this means they had Vision the whole time, and that's really confusing to me.
No, that's what I'm saying. That like she never took him. She left him in their possession.
But what were they tracking?
They were tracking the Vision that she made. He's still battery. As I was saying, it's always been that he was tracking vibranium. So that's even like more proof, in my opinion, that Wanda can literally create anything, because that means that she created her own Vision made still out of vibranium. Yeah. And they still obviously had their Vision in possession. Yeah. So, I mean, it was all really interesting to see. Yeah. But I was actually thinking about your point of like how this is probably one of the villains you've hated the most. And I think the reason, like, when you really like pull back and look at it, is all the other villains had different motives. You know what I mean? Like, as terrible as they've all basically been doing something for the greater good in a weird way, but like they've been so pulled back from humanity that, to them it would seem like the greater good to just destroy all of Earth or to kill half the population so the rest of the half can survive. But like for a human themselves to look at this and be like, I'm doing this for the greater good, but like really it's not for the greater good. Like you can feel the intentions.
See, this is what sucks, because don't get me wrong, I hate him, I hate everything about him, and I do think he's obviously in the wrong. I actually do see the human aspect of what he's doing in this situation, because the way he's looking at it, like he mentioned, Vision is a sentient weapon, and at first he was supposed to be Ultron, which is supposed to be another sentient weapon trying to cause mass genocide. This time around, he's saying, hey, if we, the government, are in control of this, we're protected. He's not using it to kill, like, potentially kill superheroes, but then again, you're looking at number-wise, they're the majority, you know what I mean, is the normal people. So, like, in his eyes, he's doing it as a means of defense, I get that part, but his delivery and everything he's done about it has just been totally just immoral, you know what I mean? Especially, the worst part to me is that how he mentioned to Monica and Jimmy Woo, he talks about Vision's will, like he mentioned in his will he didn't want to be brought back to life, and then has the nerve to say he's actually property, he's not a human, you don't get to bury him. So that
they're
alone,
like, the vibranium's ours, we made it.
The double standard with that alone made me really upset, because it's just like, pick a side, you know what I mean? It's
he has no side, it's just whatever side works for him. Like in that moment, like it's very gross. And even then, like for him to have mentioned that, knowing that technically the Vision that she made was never dead.
It was interesting.
You know, like he was literally just saying that to get Monica on his side. He didn't want to be brought back to life, and that's kind of exactly what she did. She only brought his soul back, but you don't really know. He obviously has no memories before this. Like, is it the same Vision or is it just someone else? Like, you just don't know.
He was creepy, wasn't he?
Oh, the white Vision? Oh, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, is he gonna have all the memories from like being with Wanda or anything? Like, his actual, brain was basically pulled out with the Mind Stone. So like, theoretically, I guess no, but like, you'd kind of wonder. I think that all they were doing was chipping off his paint, basically. You know what I mean? Like,
I wanted to give context to why he is white.
Like, because they had to first put him back together. So, like, why did they put him back together? What does all this mean? Like, why did they pull him apart if they only wanted him to be back together? Like, did they have to rewire him? What's going on? What is the thing in the center of his head? Why does it kind of look like a tesseract, you know?
So, in the comics, this is an actual thing that happens because his, body or whatever gets destroyed. It's the same situation where his emotion and his memory get wiped away, and it does turn just back into the AI. And read the sequence of the interaction with the kids.
Daddy, why are you white? What would you have me say, Scarlet Witch? I'm not. If you insist on being what you are, you have to tell them.
And here you see her
Very
crying.
well. Recently, my original body and my original operating system were destroyed. What you see before you is a new body, a new mind, a new vision. As such, though I contain the mechanical parts and memories associated with your father, I am no longer your father. You are not my children. Your mother is not my wife. What's wrong with you? You used to be so kind. Is the truth not kind? It's like he went back to being the original AI without any of the soul.
He's just...
But, like, so he still remembers. He remembers being the father. He just says, I am no longer your father. I still have the memory components, but I'm not that.
Yeah, I think it seems like because the emotion's taken away, though, like, memory versus understanding what has happened are a little bit different.
Well, no, I think, but that's what I'm saying. I think that there is the potential that he's actually going to be able to remember Wanda. Like, from his time with the Avengers and everything, but that he just won't care. Like, he'll remember having been there and, like, have all the memories necessary for it, but, like... does not matter to his current needs, his current rules, I guess, like what they're trying to get him to do. I don't know. That was just definitely the most fucked up part for me.
It was creepy.
It was weird, and just him like looking at his hand, it gave me such strong Frankenstein vibes.
It reminded me of
like just like the someone being brought back from the dead and looking at their hand and being like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it totally reminded me of Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen, just because he's like a whole whitish, bluish kind of body.
I haven't really seen... Oh, I know. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's just straight like energy.
There was another thing that I actually just noticed, or not just noticed, but I had noticed when she's looking down to see the Vision being like pulled apart and everything. That scene really gave me the same vibes as in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, like in season 1 where he like looks down in the operating room of that one table. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but we've been watching it and I'm kind of obsessed.
I don't know why no one told us it was good.
I know, I'm kind of really pissed about it. It's really good. But there's like a whole thing that happens in season 1 kind of surrounding Agent Coulson, and it gave me very similar vibes in that moment. Like even the viewing room and like, I mean, to be fair, all operating rooms technically look like that, like a viewing room and all that good stuff, but you know.
Kind of remind me of Grey's Anatomy.
This is kind of giving me House vibes. I don't know why. This one was already longer, but I'm hoping the next one's even longer. I think Agatha is just using the kids to get Wanda to do something for her. But now the question is, what do you think that she wants Wanda to do?
So just to backtrack a little bit, we are clear that Wanda did actually do all of this.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's like we flip-flop so many times on who we think's actually doing it, and then, Agnes revealed that she was behind it all along. It's like, what was she behind?
She was behind...
She was just manipulating
the situation,
pieces of it and trying to, like, point in her favor to get some information out of it.
She was trying to understand what was going on. That's
crazy, because it just, honestly, it takes away a lot of the reveal. You know what I mean?
Oh, it does.
Wanda literally did all of it.
Yeah.
And, like, we were technically right about that all along. It was actually her. I thought that was crazy, because we all kind of came to terms where, like, someone's making her do this. And now it's...
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that it's like negative, but like I think I'm just too attached to Wanda as a character. Like I can definitely see why Hayward would want this to be put under control. I can see why technically having a being that can literally warp reality at their whim would be bad. Yeah. But Wanda's not bad. It's kind of like the whole theory behind how Vision originally they're like we should put him down, but then Vision himself was not bad. He was using his powers for good. Yeah. And I think the moment that you start to treat her like she's going to be the villain, that's when Wanda would become a villain. Yeah. But if she has the support system she probably needs, I don't think she would be. I think she'd be able to kind of like realize like, hey, this is inhumane.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is how just the way Agnes was talking to her about the situation, she's like, you're too dangerous. It's like, I think she wants to control it or understand it so she can use it herself.
Yeah.
But like, in a way, she's almost sounding like, hey, you're too powerful. Like, you can't really be doing this.
Well, no, but it was that's why I'm saying it's just like when Agnes's mom looks at her and she goes, you're too dangerous. Yeah. Like, it's the exact same situation. And like, Agatha, don't be such a hypocrite. Just because she has more power than you doesn't mean she'll be dangerous.
I'm not saying Agnes is saying, let's protect everybody else from her.
No.
But it's like, what is her angle and what does she actually want out of Wanda?
I have to wonder, like, because I know that you say that in some scenarios, Senor Scratchy is her son, who she turned into a bunny. And the way that she even mentions it, like, she goes, even this small illusion that I've created takes so much power, so much training. And she goes, and you're controlling someone from miles away.
Magic on autopilot.
Yeah, and she's just, like, entranced by it. Like, she thinks it's so fascinating. Yeah. But maybe she can't turn back Senor Scratchy. Maybe she needs that. Maybe she needs Wanda to turn him back. But, like, also, I think there has to be way bigger of a thing that Agatha wants from Wanda that she herself can't do. It's hard to know because, like, obviously we just don't know enough about Agatha. In this version of Agatha, we just don't know.
I'm stressed out because there's so much we want to know for there to be one episode left. And, like, we know it'll lead into Multiverse of Madness, but still.
Multiverse of Madness is so far away.
There's only so many cliffhangers you can lead me with for me to not just be, like, screaming after
I hope that the next episode is just a movie. Just give me a movie. Right? Just give me a whole movie for WandaVision. That's all I'll be happy with. And I do think that Senor Scratchy will likely end up being her son. It doesn't look like he's against her, though. You know? Like the way that he was like whispering in her ear and everything. But I guess if I wanted my mom to turn me back to human, I wouldn't necessarily be against her either. Yeah. My brain hurts, like trying to think of anything. I think the twins are gonna end up being real. Just because they're supposed to be in Young Avengers.
They are Young Avengers in the comic.
Right.
There's no start to Young Avengers right now.
There's no definitive answer,
So, how do you think it's gonna end? Or like, what do you think is gonna happen in the next episode?
I'm telling you, I literally don't know. I think it's gonna have to be like a showdown between her and Agatha, where Agatha's only flex is the fact that she knows magic. Yeah. And Scarlet Witch is doing this basically impulsively. Like, she's doing this with gut feelings. She doesn't know how to use magic, while Agatha has all the spells, all the ritual, all the understanding. Like, for her to be able to use runes to lock Wanda up when her magic is a blip. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just, that's going to be a very interesting showdown. But I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if the way that this one ends is Agatha stealing the twins. Yeah. Like, taking them, but I really don't think it's going to be one of those, like, Mephisto situations where it ends up being a piece of his soul or whatever. I think that she would just keep them for herself because she'll realize that, obviously...
She can kind of harvest the magic that came from her.
Or just, like, she can raise them as kind of her own, and Billy has, theoretically, chaos magic, too. Yeah. If that's what you need, you would definitely have the means to create it. Yeah. You know? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up taking the kids and that is... like the next step. Yeah. Or if they do end up being nothing at all and like Wanda has to realize that everything's just been her trying to hold on to things that aren't real. Yeah. She has to give up Vision, her children, and join Doctor Strange for something.
Yeah, so I have a couple ideas on how like it might end, but the part that makes it kind of confusing is I don't know how Monica's character is going to fit into any of this. So if I just think of it alone as Wanda and Agatha as a one-on-one in the next episode. I forgot
about Monica,
That's what I mean, but we're going to have Monica popping in. Quicksilver's probably popping up again too after they had that run-in at the end the last episode.
That was strange, because you know how she said, like, necromancy wasn't an option just because his body wasn't on the right continent, and he was full of holes. But so what does that mean? Was Quicksilver just there all along?
No, that's what they're hinting at. They pulled him.
But she couldn't pull the original. She said
because he was dead.
No. She said necromancy was an option, but he wasn't on the right continent.
Oh, I thought you said wasn't an option.
No, because he wasn't on the right continent. So, like, she basically said that if he'd been within reach, she still would have been able to use necromancy, but he would have been full of holes. That was her other thing. So that's kind of implying that the Quicksilver that we just saw was within reach. Whether that's because they're in a nexus and, like, she was able to pull him, whether Wanda accidentally created a nexus because of the way that she opened up, like, this reality, or I don't know. Like, or maybe they're just saying that was the dimension they've been in all along, and that was the X-Men that was just there to grab.
Yeah, but what I do think is going to end up happening, and this is incredibly morbid and sad, and I wish I didn't think this is how it was going to end. She's going to have to fight the White Vision and kill him again herself. Yeah. That being the body, even without the emotion, she is killing him again. And that alone is going to be devastating.
I wonder, actually, if Vision will kill Vision. Because I think that
would be an interesting...
I think that would save her. I think if the Vision she creates kills the Vision that was the original.
I just feel like that'd be too easy. Isn't that too obvious?
But, like, I really don't think that they're trying to destroy Wanda.
I don't think so either, but I think, again, with it leading up in the Multiverse of Madness, what I think is going to happen is she's going to have to kill White Vision, and that being his body, that's just another devastating thing for her. And then in the next scene, the Hex, let's say, goes away, the kids disappear, and then Agatha or someone, they tell her, like, they aren't real, they never were real, none of this was real. And then from there, Hex expands, takes over pretty much the entire world in the multiverse, because that's closer to House of M.
Yeah, but
that's
the way
what
that
started House of M.
But the way that Multiverse of Madness has looked so far, it looks more like Wanda's trying to help Doctor Strange through the multiverses.
We haven't seen anything for it.
Well, I mean,
have you?
Just like pictures and stuff like that. But she's, like, on his side.
Yeah.
Like, especially even in, like, the main picture that they have of it, it's not them facing each other.
Yeah.
Which I think would be much more of the reality if it was.
Right, so that's the thing.
That one.
This? That's not real.
That one's not real?
No, none of these are real. That's the thing. The only thing that's real is we haven't seen any leaked images. They're just...
Oh, I thought this one was.
No, that's just created. That's the thing. All the images are them cropped together, so they look like they're on the same side, but none of these are real.
We have to wait Wait, it's only in May? That must have been before pandemic. I'm like, we have to wait until May? I can do that.
But yeah, and I don't want any of this to happen, but 2022.
Yeah, that makes much more sense.
But this is what I see happening, just because that is closer to what the House of M storyline is like, and it is from the twins. Agatha literally lets her know.
I totally see that. I believe it. Yeah. But, like, now I remember what I was thinking of. They said that they weren't going to be following the storyline of Wanda going mad. Like, that they said that. Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
He said that that's not the direction they're taking at all.
That means there's another twist then.
That was already, like, in an interview. That's what he said, that they're not going the direction of Wanda losing her mind, which is why I don't think it's going to be a situation. Either she's going to persevere, like, yes, her kids are going to have been fake, Vision's going to be fake, she's going to have to kill Vision, and she's going to literally be in control of herself enough, I guess, to not lose it, or that's not what's gonna happen.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that too, actually, but I can't remember the exact context he said it.
I can't remember either, so I guess we'll have to look up more.
Yeah, but I hope she's not. At this point, I'm really curious. I have no clue how it's gonna end. Like, that's a theory, obviously, but I still have no clue what's gonna happen.
I wouldn't be shocked, like, if they went, like, full on, like, House of M style, but also...
You can't bounce back from that, that's the thing. Like, if she does that, she's a villain.
Exactly.
And that's it, and she'll have to die.
Exactly.
So...
And, like, that's why I don't think that... I don't think...
Yeah.
I don't think it's smart. On, like, Marvel's side, I don't think it's smart to make one of the most powerful women in their universe a psychotic lady that turns into a villain.
Yeah,
like, that's
true.
That's so dumb on Marvel's part if they end up doing that.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, you're one powerful woman and you made her crazy. Cool. Yeah. Great.
Especially because they built her up so much. But...
Yeah, like, if they'd left her as, like, a side character, it would have been fine. Yeah. Or maybe she is able to create her own reality where she is able to, like, live her happiness, you know, but, like, separate from ruining anyone else's reality.
Yeah. Imagine if Doctor Strange just like, yeah, I think you're the Sorcerer Supreme now.
He would never. He is such a big ego. He would never.
Yeah, I mean, if she's stronger than him.
I mean, yeah, but you have to understand the inner workings of the universe to be a Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
It's not about being able to do big magics. Like, it is partially, but it's more about understanding. And she has no willingness to have that kind of knowledge.
Yeah. Agatha was a Sorcerer Supreme.
That makes sense, just because, like...
Merlin is the OG Sorcerer Supreme.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I kind of just want to leave it at that. I think that as far as, like, theories go, I just don't want to theorize, because all my theories do have more to do with her not being able to control everything, and I really don't want that from this. Yeah, but, like, realistically, it's the easiest route for them to take.
Yeah, but that's why I feel like it won't happen. But they just keep doing the complete opposite of what we're thinking.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. It's just, like, I don't know, you never know.
I want her to have a good ending. Yeah, we kind of went off on a tangent, but... I mean,
it was good conversation though. It was. But yeah, I really, like I said, I just want to see what happens in the next episode. Like, I don't really have any clue. Like, let us know like what you guys are gonna think is gonna happen, how you think it's gonna end.
If you noticed anything that we didn't notice in this episode?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I feel like Easter egg wise, I was not focused at all.
It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
The biggest Easter egg was just the callback to the other episodes with the sitcoms.
Yeah, but I mean, like, normally, like, there's small things. What?
One Easter egg. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, no, I don't know.
The letter, the heart, was on the calendar.
Yeah. Oh.
The heart that was on the deed.
Oh, I'm sad. That's totally... Because when I was rewatching the first 2 episodes, I even thought to myself, we still don't really know what the heart was for.
I think that's what's fun about it, because like there's still even a chance there's no aerospace engineer. So for us to just theorize and make all these things up in our heads for them to be nothing.
I just feel like there won't be an aerospace engineer at this point, just because like...
There will be an aerospace engineer.
I don't know.
I
don't know about that.
There has to be. There's a lot gonna happen, and I just really hope the episode's more than an hour.
Oh, I
know that's a lot
like
to
ask.
Hour and a half. Again, with this being the last episode, I'm sure they're gonna go all out.
I'd hope so.
We'll see.
You know, maybe if we all just like scream encore, they have to just do another one, like how they do at concerts.
I do like, though, they confirmed this is not having a season 2.
That would make no sense if it did.
A lot of people were bummed. They're like, why are we getting to season 2? It's like, it's not that kind of show. It's not a series. It's not
literally just trying to like ramp you up for the next movie. Like the actual like movie. That would be hilarious. Can you imagine just WandaVision season 2? They're like, okay, let's start over, I guess, from the top. It's the kids. It's just their show.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be it though.
Yeah,
unless you wanted to say anything else.
Nope. We could go for another hour probably, but I think I'm good.
Yeah. No. My mind feels mushy. No.
It's tapping your mind stone.
Don't. It's sensitive. All right. Well, that's going to be it then for this week's episode of Talk Nerdy with me. And please stand by.
Yeah. Please stand by.
Ramp you up for the next movie, like the actual like movie. That would be hilarious. Can you imagine just WandaVision season 2? They're like, okay, let's start over, I guess, from the top. It's the kids. It's just their show.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be it though.
Yeah,
unless you wanted to say anything else.
Nope. We could go for another hour probably, but I think I'm good.
Yeah. No. My mind feels mushy. No.
It's tapping your mind stone.
Don't. It's sensitive. All right, well, that's going to be it then for this week's episode of Talk Nerdy with me. And please stand by.
Yeah, please stand by. Look how hot Scarlet Witch is in the comics and in the game.
I mean, she's hot in this one, too.
No, I know. I love her, but...
Yeah, comic book Scarlet Witch. That's your thing?
She could break my reality, and I'd probably thank her. No?
I mean, I would probably thank her, too.